Hello guys, I'm glad to bring to you another awesome video tutorial. So do you want to learn how to make a photo memory slideshow in Filmora just like the one you're watching right now? Then stay with me, I'll show you how. Before we get started, if you're new here, consider subscribing and don't forget to click that small bell icon for more awesome videos like this. We release new fresh videos every Tuesday and in between. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, in order to pull this off, we need photos or images. I have some here, you can import yours. So if you've done that, let's drag then our first image. This is what we're going to use as our background. Right click and go to crop the fit. So in order to make it suitable for background, we need to add some effects. So go to effects and search for square blow. Drag and drop it on the image. As you can see, our image has been blown. So you can double click on it and go to settings if you want to make it more blurrish, or you can just leave it the way it is, just the way you want it. So when you're satisfied with it, just click OK. Now we have our background. So the next thing we need to do is to go back to our library. Let's start dragging down the images one after the other to the track. So let's drop the first one, go and drag then the second one and do the same. Drag then all the images you're going to use and be dropping them on the next track on the timeline. Just arrange them one after the other. Alright, now that we're done with dragging down all our images, the images we're going to use, now it's time to crop all the images. So click on this crop icon right there and go to crop and zoom. Or you can right click on the object and go to crop and zoom. Under crop, click on the ratio and change it to 16:9 and adjust it and capture exactly the area you want to capture. And go to the second one, right click and go to crop and zoom. And under crop, go to the ratio and choose 16:9 and capture the area you wanna and make adjustment and click OK. So follow the same steps and crop all the images one after the other. So when you're done with cropping all the images, it's time to resize it. So double click on it and go to transform. Under scale, let's change the scale to 35%. You can change it to 40 or 50, whichever size you want, as you can see on the screen right here. So go to the second image and right click and double click on it and go to transform and change it to 35% and do the same to all the images one after the other. All you need to do is to right click on it, go to transform, change the scale to 35 and you move to the next one. And as you can see, we've cropped all our images. The next thing we need to do is to go to effect. We're going to add border to it. So go to utility, drag border and drop it on the first image. Let's double click on it and make some changes. Now let's change the size to at least 5. You can leave it as 3 or more if you want, but I think 5 will be okay. Now you can see our border has changed. So instead of doing it one after the other, just right click on the first image and copy effects, then highlight all the other images except the background and right click on them and paste effects. And by so doing, we don't have to do it one after the other. By so doing, all the effects will apply to all the images except the background. So we have all our images cropped and background. So the next thing we need to do is to align them on the screen. We need to align them on the screen. So drag and position them where you want them to be. You can do exactly what I'm doing, or you can use your creativity. Just drag them to any corner you want them to appear and drop it right there. So drag the image to any corner you want. Just align them and make sure they're properly position. You can rotate it a little bit just to get exactly the angle you want. You can click on that. You can click on it and rotate it a little bit. So take your time and arrange them one after the other. All you need to do is to drag them to the corner you want, or you can take a hold on the up right there and rotate it, tilt it a little bit just to position it the way you want it to. Do the same to all your images and you can arrange them just the way you want it, or you can follow just follow what I'm doing right now. Take your time and arrange them. It may take time, but just take your time and do it. Alright, we're not done yet, but the middle object, the middle picture right there, let's change the border. So let's go to border setting, click, let's change the white to another color, and also change the start to a different color. Let's change the color of the border of the object or picture in the middle. This is what I'm talking about. You can see the color has changed. Yes, right there. Alright, we already have our photos there, our images there. Let's drag one up and drag one down and align them properly. Just take your time and make sure you align them properly. Make sure they are properly arranged. Just take your time and do it now. So when you're satisfied with what you have on the screen, the next thing you need to do is to click on that camera icon and take a snapshot of what you have on the screen. And this is it in our library. So the next thing we need to do is to highlight and delete all these images on the timeline because we don't need them. So now we have our snapshot. Let's drag and drop it on the timeline, and now we can stretch it as long as we want. You can stretch it 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. Just the way you want it. Stretch it to about 30 or 45 seconds. That's okay. So now it's time for animation. So double click on the image and the snapshot and go to animation and click on customize. Now let's add our first keyframe to our image. Move forward and add a keyframe and move back to the beginning. So go to the size and drag it to the beginning. Stretch it to the beginning, and when we play, this is what we have. So let's see what we have. It's too slow, so let's adjust it to be much faster. So move the playhead a couple of frames and add another keyframe. Move it up a couple of frames and go to the size and expand it. Let's adjust this middle image to fill the screen. Now when we play it, this is what we have. Interesting, isn't it? Now let's move the playhead 5 frames forward and add another keyframe. Then move it a couple of frames forward and let's go to the screen and move it to the left and adjust it. You can adjust it, expand it until you capture the picture you want to capture. So just keep moving it, aligning it until you capture exactly what you want to capture. You can expand it, you can reduce it, you can move it around. Just make sure you capture exactly what you want. So as you do that, you can also rotate it. Look at that rotation right there. You can rotate it so you will have something like this. So move it around until you get exactly what you want, and when we play it, you will have something awesome like this. So let's move to the next animation. So move it forward, add a keyframe, move it a couple of frames forward and go back to the screen and move it around, rotate it, look for the picture you want to show. Just align it, show it exactly the way you want it to show. And you can scale it up or down. You can move the position up or down sideways, and you can also rotate it. Just move it around with your mouse until you get exactly what you want, then you move forward. That's all there is to it. Just add a keyframe, then move your playhead forward. Then you go to the image and move it around and adjust it to where you want it to be. The end in mind, where you want exactly how you want the picture to appear on the screen. Then by the time you go backward and play it, and you will see it will move and align itself just the way you did it. So that's all there is to it. So just take your time, go through one after the other. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, just get the basics and you can go ahead and move it around just the way you want it. So all you need to do, add a keyframe, move it forward and go to the screen. You can use all this setting. You can increase the size, you can move the position up and down or sideways. You can also rotate it and expand it until you capture exactly the way you want the picture to be on the screen. Then you can move forward and do the same thing. So take your time and apply it to all throughout the images. Just make sure you capture the images one after the other. If you have 6 images, you can do the same to all the 6 images, or 5 images, or 10 images. Doesn't matter how many. Just make sure you capture it and you do as it is exactly the way you want it. So take your time and do it. Alright, we're done with our animation. We can click on play and let's see what we have so far. Isn't it interesting? You go through it. If there's something you need to change, you can go back and just make the changes, and if you're satisfied with it, you can move forward. So we're not done yet. There's a couple of things we can do. We can add sound effect to it, just like the one you heard at the intro. As it moving, we drop the sound effect in between. So if you have some, you can do that. But before we do that, let's make some adjustment to this. We would love to have the animation moving throughout the slide. So all we need to do is to add a little bit movement in between. So click on the keyframe and go back to size or scale and scale it a little bit. A very short, slow movement like this. Yes, something like that. So click on that dot right there. That is a keyframe. Then go to the screen and move it a little bit to give it that touch of a slow movement. So we don't have a static, pictures. Slow, gentle, nice movement, just like this. You got it. So just do the same to all the keyframes. So let's preview it and see what we have so far. Click and play. Let's see it. As you can see, it adds some flavor to it. Instead of the picture sitting static, now we have the picture moving in between. Isn't it awesome? Yeah, it is. So let's go to audio. Now let's add some sound effect to it, just like I said, like the one you heard at the intro. Just add some color to it. You don't have to do it, but it is awesome. So let's go and drag and drop some. If you have it, you can do the same. All you need to do is to drag them. Make sure you align them with the movement, with the keyframes. As the object are moving, it should move along with the size, with the sound, So take your time and do the same. So now we're done with adding some cool sound effect to our tutorial. The last thing we can do is to add a background music. This could also be an optional, but it adds some flavor to it. So look for a music of your choice, drag and drop it on the last track on the timeline, cut out the parts you don't need, and make sure you tested it to be sure it's not too loud. If it is, you can reduce it. So now we're done. We can test it and see. And listen to the sound some more until you find it exactly the way you want it. You can tweak it a little bit until you get what you want actually. So this brings us to the end of the video. The next thing you need to do is to smash that export button for your final product. So export it. So talking about final product, this is our final product. Check it out. Well, I want to thank you for watching this tutorial. If you find it valuable, don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and click that bell icon for more awesome videos like this. And if you find it valuable, share it with your friends, like it, and leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.